Today we are going to be making a flip book for figurative language. This is going to help us through this unit identify different types of figurative language in the stories we're going to be reading. Alright, so first you're going to need 5 pieces of paper, different colors. The paper's on your desks, so go ahead and pick out 5 colors. Alright, once you have your 5 colors, we're going to set them up in a line, and we need to be able to see some of each color. Not too much though, because if you have too much you won't be able to fold it over and have the bottom piece showing. Alright. Once you've done that, then you can do this to help keep the sides aligned. Then you take it and you fold it over. You want to make sure that you do leave room for the next tabby. Alright. And then you crease it. Alright, I'm doing this to make sure that it's all up at the top by the crease so that when I staple it, they're all stapled so nobody falls out. You notice that there's all these flaps. Yes, 2 of them are the same color. That's just what happens with the middle flap. Alright. Then you're going to staple 2 staples, 1 on each end. Once you do that, you have your flip book started. Alright, once you get it started, you're going to want to fold all of them over. Start with the top one. The very first thing you're going to do after you crease it so you can open it easily is you're going to write figurative language on the top flap. Because that's, of course, the name of our flip book. It's what it's going to be about. So we're writing figurative language. And remember, this is all on the projected on the Elmo so you can see it. And you have one of these flip books that's already completed at your desk to help you if we are ahead of where you're at, or you need to be able to see it better. Alright, so figurative language is at the top. Then you're going to reopen that. Remember, you creased it earlier. And you're going to write figurative language. And the definition of figurative language is choosing words and phrases that make my writing come to life. Vivid or expressive writing. This type of writing creates a picture in the reader's mind. So, like Harry Potter would be a good example of an author who's really good at writing with figurative language. Alright, and then we're going to move on and we're going to go to the next flap. So you close that. And the next flap you're going to write simile on. Alright, so you wrote simile on the next flap. Very good. Then you're going to open that pink flap, and on that yellow flap, yours might be a different color, you're going to divide it into 3. The first area is going to be your definition of simile. Comparison using as, like, or seems to compare 2 things that seem to be unrelated. Alright, so that's what a simile is. It's comparing things using as, like, or seems to compare 2 things that seem to be unrelated. Alright, an example sentence for that you're going to put in the second box. Put the definition in the first one, and the second one you're going to put an example sentence. And I'm going to give you an example. But if you find other examples during your reading, or you think of some, you can go ahead and put those in there as well. My example is, the road wound like a snake around the city. Alright, and in that third box, you're going to draw a picture that helps remind you what the word simile means. Alright, then you're going to go ahead and close that, and you're going to move on to the third tab, and you're going to write metaphor. Alright, and you've gotten metaphor written down on that next tab. Very good. All right, then you're going to open up so that you can write on that tab. And you're going to write the definition of metaphor. And again, well, I'll have an example sentence for you. All right, so the definition is a comparison in which the writer does not use the words as, like, or seems. It's a direct comparison. So the example I'm giving you here is he is a mountain of a man. So that's your example sentence, is he is a mountain of a man. And again, you're going to draw a picture that helps you remember what metaphor means. All right, and then you close it again. And on the next tab, you write analogy. All right, so we have analogy written on that next tab. Very good. All right, we're going to open that and we're going to write the definition of analogy and an example sentence. And again, you can add sentences if you think of another sentence that would go there. All right, so the definition of analogy is a comparison of two pairs of things that have the same or similar relationship. So two pairs of things that have the same or similar relationship. So your example sentence is going to be, a clock shows the time in the same way that a thermometer shows the temperature. And again, you're going to draw a picture that helps remind you what analogy means. All right. And after you finish writing that, you're going to move on and you're going to write on the next tab, you're going to write idiom. All right, and you've got idiom written down. Very good. All right, and so you're going to write down the definition for idiom in the first box, or in the first section, and then the next you're going to write an example sentence. So in this case, the definition for idiom is a cultural expression that means something different from what it actually says. All right, so your example sentence is, her heart was broken. Now, you can't actually break someone's heart, but they can be sad and they would say, your heart is broken. So that's the example. It doesn't literally mean that her heart was broken, it just means that she's sad. All right, so the definition again is a cultural expression that means something different from what it actually says. All right, and I need you to write that and then write the example sentence, her heart was broken, and go ahead and draw a picture that helps you remember what idiom means. All right, and then we're going to go on to hyperbole. And we're going to write that in the next tab. All right, and once you have hyperbole written in the next tab, like this, you're going to open it, of course, and you're going to write the definition and an example sentence. All right, so, so the definition of hyperbole is exaggeration to make a point. So you're exaggerating something to make a point. So my example sentence for you, this is middle school after all, I figure you guys have often said something along this lines to your parents, but Mom, everyone has a cell phone. So your example sentence is going to be, Mom, but everyone has a cell phone. Now everyone does not have a cell phone. All right, but that's your example sentence. She's exaggerating, saying everybody does, and you're going to draw a picture that helps you remember that hyperbole is an exaggeration to make a point. All right, and then you're going to move on. And we're going to go to alliteration. All right, and you're going to write alliteration on the next tab. All right, and once you've got that written down, you're going to open it to that tab. So you can write the definition and the example sentence of alliteration. All right, alliteration. To repeat the beginning consonant sound in a sentence or group of words. All right, so this definition is to repeat the beginning consonant sound in a sentence or group of words. And you're going to need to write that down under the definition, and then on the sentence, that I gave you is a popular rhyme. I'm sure most of you know it. It's Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So that's your example you're going to write down in your example sentence is Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. And I'm sure you can all think of others. Alright, and once you're done with that, go ahead and draw a picture that helps remind you what alliteration means. Alright, and then you're going to move on to the next tab and my personal favorite, onomatopoeia. And you're going to write onomatopoeia on the next tab. Alright, and onomatopoeia is on the next tab, and like I said, it's my favorite. I just like the way that word sounds. Plus, it's a fun figurative language. Alright, so onomatopoeia and the definition, you're going to write in the first column, and the definition of onomatopoeia is a word that sounds like the meaning it is trying to convey. Alright, and your example sentence for that is the sound of the clang, clang, clang of the bell rang out. Clang, clang, clang is a sound. It's basically sound effects. So you remember comic books? You see those things where they're saying boom, bang. Those are all sound effects. So basically onomatopoeia is written sound effects. Alright, and then you want to draw a picture that helps remind you what onomatopoeia means. Some of you guys I know like comics. You might end up drawing a little comic strip design. Alright, so then the very last one we're doing is personification. So go ahead and write personification on the next tab. And personification sounds a lot like what it is. So you're going to write personification on this tab. Alright, see, personification. And then the definition of personification goes in the first column, of course. And the definition of personification is to give human qualities to something that is not human, such as animals, objects, or ideas. Okay, the definition is to give human qualities to something that is not human, such as animals, objects, or ideas. Alright, and your example sentence is, the sun smiled at us. Now the sun can't actually smile at us, but we gave it a human quality, which is personification. Now Disney likes to do personification quite a bit. Almost all of their movies have talking animals or smiling suns or things like that. Alright, so you're going to go ahead and write the definition and then your example sentence. If you have other example sentences, which I'm sure most of you do, you can go ahead and add those. And then you need to draw a picture in the third column that will help remind you what personification means. Alright, and now we're done with our flipbook. So I'm going to give you guys time to go ahead and draw those pictures. And then we're going to move on to the rest of our unit.